Unknown fungi destroyed human society. The whole world is in an apocalyptic scene. Joel and Ellie, heading west to Wyoming to find his brother. Because the journey is long, they must stop to collect fuel when they pass every gas station, although there are many abandoned cars on the sides of the road. But the gasoline in the tanks has long evaporated. After a day and night of travel, leaves Ellie with little sense of novelty. She found a cassette tape in the back seat. Soon, the car is filled with the sound of an old and melodious song. Then Ellie finds a men's magazine. Joel is alarmed. He tells her to throw it away and not to read it. Ellie asked, why are all these pages stuck together? It seems she is more mature than she appears. Joel tries to take highways all the way, so the chance of encountering obstacles or infected is much smaller. Only the ruins of buildings on both sides of the road seem to tell of the past misery and chaos. As night is about to fall, Joel takes the car off the highway and drive into a lush forest. Although far from the city, it's hard to encounter infected here, but they dare not make a fire to cook. They can only use some non-perishable canned food. Joel has experienced too much over the years. He knows very well, sometimes living humans are more terrifying than the infected. After setting up their sleeping bags for the night, Ellie suddenly asks, why do scarecrows win awards? Joel dismisses it, thinks and says, because he's outstanding in the field. The sudden joke lightens Joel's mood, but he doesn't let his guard down. After a peaceful night's rest, Joel habitually brews a cup of bad coffee. Then they continue on their way. Ellie checks the map. There is still a day and night's journey to the destination. Suddenly, she becomes very interested in Joel's brother they are seeking. Joel doesn't hide anything. He says his brother Tommy is always thinking about saving the world. He enlisted right after high school. After the fungus outbreak, Joel joined Tommy's unit to protect him, and they went to Boston together. There, Joel met Tess, and Tommy met Marlene, and joined the Firefly. Then he always felt his brother was delusional about saving the world. Suddenly, Ellie spoke up. If there's no hope, why is everyone still alive? Joel thought for a moment. His hope is to protect his loved ones. That's why he's searching for his brother, Tommy. Ellie asked Joel, am I considered your loved one? Joel replies, you can only be considered as cargo. But he promised Tess to protect Ellie. While they are talking, abandoned vehicles on the sides of the road become more numerous. Joel has to stop the car because the road ahead is blocked by a truck. Joel cautiously scans the surroundings. It's impossible to clear the obstacles with their current conditions. The only way is to choose a detour, but in doing so, they have to leave the highway and enter the nearby city. It's much more dangerous here than the original path. Traces of burnt bodies are everywhere. Ellie suddenly sees an abandoned quarantine zone. An injured human runs over asking for help. Joel, without hesitation, tells Ellie to fasten her seatbelt. Then he steps on the gas and charges forward, but they didn't realize the surroundings were already ambushed. The car tires are punctured instantly. Then it crashes into a store. Joel knows he's encountered a gang of bandits. This is very common in the post-apocalyptic world. Bullets are whizzing past densely. Joel quickly gets up and counterattacks with gunfire. Ellie takes the opportunity to hide in a small hole in the opposite wall. When the outside gunshots cease, the enemies are finally all eliminated. Joel is just about to reload. Suddenly, someone enters through the back door. Accidentally, Joel is tightly strangled by the person. Seeing that Joel is about to get killed, Ellie silently pulls out her gun and pulls the trigger. Hits the man in the leg. He begs incessantly not to be killed. Then he pulls out a knife from his body, indicating he has no intention of resisting. Joel pays no attention, just silently takes Ellie's gun and lets her hide back in the hole. The pleading outside suddenly stops. Ellie knows Joel killed the man, but she acts like nothing happened. Ellie deeply understands the survival rules in the apocalypse. Not a shred of pity and kindness should be shown. Joel feels surprise in her determination, but doesn't say anything. The immediate priority is to leave this place. As expected, the recent gunfight quickly attracted the attention of the local armed forces. A large group of armed people gathered around several bodies. Someone deduces that this was done by outsiders. The leader, Kathleen, is highly nervous, believing that it's likely reinforcements for their enemy, Henry. She then gathers all her troops. They must catch these troublemakers. Actually, it's not surprising that Kathleen is overly cautious, because not long ago, she led the citizens in overthrowing the official quarantine zone. Currently, there are still several government officials on the run. Among them, Henry with a radio. He must be captured in time. All rebels start searching door to door. Joel, hiding in a residential house, is a bit worried. Before nightfall, they must leave this place. Now, they can only sit and wait. Joel finally has time to apologize to Ellie. It was his negligence that got Ellie involved in the fight. Little did he know that Ellie is indifferent, saying that it's not her first time experiencing this. Joel feels a bit relieved. He willingly returns the gun to Ellie and teaches her how to grip the gun more securely. This is not the ordinary firearms knowledge taught in quarantine zone schools. Clearly, Joel completely recognizes Ellie now, and no longer seeing her as a burden or cargo. On the other side, the rebels, after half a day of searching, finally make a new discovery. In an attic, they see many children's drawings. There are also some empty cans on the floor. Kathleen is certain that these are left by the enemy, Henry. Perhaps because of food depletion. He took the children elsewhere, Suddenly, there was a commotion downstairs. They push the door open to check. There's a noticeable depression in the middle of the floor. The woman curses loudly and quickly exits the room. She knows something terrible is hiding below, orders her subordinates to seal off the building. They still want to find those troublemakers first. Meanwhile, Joel and Ellie have reached an abandoned skyscraper. This one is a whopping 42 stories high. Joel decides to climb as high as possible. Higher floors are safer, and it's easier to observe escape routes after dawn. Ellie is a bit puzzled. How did Joel see through the disguise of the injured person earlier? Joel looks a bit dim. Actually, he didn't discover anything. It's just that he used to do similar things, just to get survival supplies. There's nothing humans won't do to survive. Don't trust anyone. When they reach around the 40th floor, Joel randomly chooses a room to rest. He also cautiously scatters broken glass at the door to prevent anyone from sneaking in quietly. Joel feels a bit guilty. He thinks Ellie is too young, shouldn't have realized the cruelty of the world so early. The little girl suddenly tells a dark joke. Did you know diarrhea is hereditary? Joel is left puzzled. Ellie quickly reveals the answer. It runs in your genes. Joel is left bewildered, turns around and finally can't hold back a laugh. This room, though small and cold, is gradually becoming warmer. They didn't know how much time had passed. Joel is awakened by Ellie's urgent shouts. But what awaits him is the cold muzzles of guns. The above is the content of episode 4 of The Last of Us. Presumably, the two sudden arrivals are Henry and his son, whom the resistance led by Kathleen has been looking for. Joel probably didn't expect to be unwittingly dragged into a situation. Kathleen is a ruthless person, facing her old neighbor and health advisor. She didn't hesitate at all when killing, and she has a powerful armed force. Joel inadvertently stepped into the opposing team as soon as he entered the city. Both sides are inevitably facing a life and death battle. In addition, in these episodes, Ellie's performance is commendable, although her appearance is somewhat unsatisfactory. There is a significant difference in character from the in-game character, but at least she leaves a deep impression. She is clever and decisive. As for her talkativeness, it fits the needs of the plot. Growing up in the quarantine zone as a child, such reactions are normal. As for the male-led Joel, he is more in line with the game's setting. Fierce and resolute, shows no mercy to enemies, but he has affection and loyalty to his companions. However, compared to the combat power in the game, it's slightly lower. Dealing with 1 or 2 infected or humans is okay, but once there are more, there must be cooperation with teammates. But this seems to be more realistic. Scenarios where one person fights 10 can only happen in games. After all, the Joel in the series is almost 60 years old. In addition, when Kathleen encountered the sunken floor in the attic, there should be some kind of infected underneath. Speculation is that it might be the stalkers from the game. Infected seen so far in this series are not many. The most common ones seen so far are the clickers with sensitive hearing, summarizing the 4 stages of fungal infection in the game. The first stage is not much different from ordinary zombies, just faster runners. The next stage is the stalkers who are good at hiding, not seen much in the game. Next, the fungus begins to grow on the infected. The obvious feature is the large fungal growth on their bodies. They have no vision, but sensitive hearing, until the fungus spreads throughout the body. The infected's body becomes extremely large, and they can even throw fungus. When Ellie just left the quarantine zone, she asked Joel if he had seen infected that throw spores. It might actually appear in this series in the future. Stay tuned to Happy Movie. More details will be shared with you. If you like Happy Movie, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Alright, let's end it here for today. See you in the next episode.